Hello and welcome to another episode of the Halloween podcast. I am your host, Lyle Perez, and today I got something very special for you. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, there's a good chance you're in your car right now, cruising down the highway, maybe going to work, or just taking a drive to clear your head. And that's exactly why I chose today's topic. We're going to be talking about haunted highways. There's something about driving at night with nothing but the road ahead of you and the darkness surrounding you that makes these stories hit a little harder, don't you think? Another reason why I chose this topic is so I can get you guys started for what's to come next week. We're doing a brand new countdown to Halloween starting on September 12th. We're going to be kicking off Haunted America, a journey across all 50 states, exploring 10 haunted locations in each one. That's 50 episodes released daily, leading all the way up into our grand finale on Halloween. So this episode, think of it as a warm-up for what's to come. Consider it a little prelude, a taste of the eerie roads and ghostly encounters that will set the stage for a deep dive into America's most haunted locations. So buckle up, because this is just the beginning. We're about to hit the road running. Now let's get you pumped up for some ghost stories that might just make you think twice about driving alone. Ready? Let's hit the road. Our first stop on this haunted highway journey takes us to one of the most notorious roads in America, Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey. This 10-mile stretch of asphalt has earned its reputation as one of the most haunted roads in the country. Over the years, it has become a magnet for ghost hunters, thrill seekers, paranormal enthusiasts alike. The stories coming from this road range from sightings of ghostly apparitions to bizarre rituals. Drivers frequently report encounters with a phantom truck that appears out of nowhere, racing up behind them with its headlights blinding bright, only to suddenly vanish without a trace. It's said that if you turn around to look, you might find yourself face to face with something that doesn't belong in this world. But that's just the beginning. Clinton Road is also home to the infamous legend of the ghost boy at the bridge. According to local lore, if you toss a coin into the murky waters below, the boy's spirit, believed to have drowned there decades ago, will throw it back to you. Skeptics might laugh, but many who've tested this legend swear they've seen the coin land back on the bridge by an unseen hand. Witnesses have also reported feeling an unexplainable chill in the air, hearing faint, childlike laughter that seems to come from nowhere, and catching glimpses of a small figure standing near the bridge, watching with hollow eyes. And then there's Cross Castle, which once stood deep in the woods just off Clinton Road. Built in 1905 by Richard Cross, it was reduced to ruins after a fire. But its charred remains are said to have hosted satanic rituals and occult gatherings over the years. Visitors to the ruins often report strange symbols painted on the walls, the feeling of being watched, and shadowy figures moving just out of sight. One local legend claims that if you enter the ruins at midnight, you can hear chanting in a language no one can understand, accompanied by the flickering of lights of a phantom fire. Now, haunted highways have not just been a part of local legends and ghost tours. They've also been immortalized in literature, capturing the imaginations of readers and spooky fans alike. One of the most famous literature references to haunted highways comes from the classic collection Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where the story of the vanishing hitchhiker has chilled the bones of many. In this tale, a driver picks up a hitchhiker on a lonely stretch of road, only to find that she mysteriously disappears from the backseat upon reaching her destination. Often, the story concludes with the driver learning that the hitchhiker had died years before on that very road. This story has variations across many cultures and regions, reflecting a universal fear on the unknown and the spectral hitchhiker who might just enter our lives for a moment, leaving us with nothing but eerie memories and a chilling story to tell. Next, we head to one of America's most historic highways, Route 66. This iconic road, known as the Main Street of America, is more than just a symbol of freedom and adventure. It's also a corridor of ghostly encounters and eerie phenomenon. Let's take a detour to St. Louis, Missouri, where the Route 66 bridge has a dark history. The bridge, built in 1929 and closed to vehicles traffic in 1970, has witnessed several tragic accidents and deaths over the years, including a notorious murder in 1991. Some believe the spirits of those who perished there still linger. Drivers and pedestrians have reported seeing shadowy figures on the bridge, only for them to disappear when approached. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out from the river below, often described as a cry for help. One chilling account involves a driver who tried to cross the bridge late at night, only to have their car stall unexpectedly in the middle. As they attempted to restart the engine, they felt an overwhelming sense of dread, as if something unseen was slowly creeping closer. Further along Route 66, near Oatman, Arizona, lies another haunted stretch known as the Oatman Highway. This winding, narrow section of the road has claimed many lives over the years, and some say the spirits of those lost wander there still. Drivers have reported seeing ghostly apparitions of miners and travelers from the Old West, and some even hear the faint sounds of gunshots and distant voices carried on the wind. In 1994, a tourist claimed to have seen a group of shadowy figures dressed in old-fashioned clothing standing on the roadside, only to vanish as they drove by. Many believe there are the spirits of those who died in the harsh desert conditions. But if you think that's chilling, wait until you hear about A3 in England. This modern highway, particularly the stretch near Burpham in Surrey, doesn't look like a place for ghostly encounters. Yet, it's here that drivers have repeatedly reported seeing a phantom car crash that seems to play out like a loop, over and over again. The phenomenon became famous in December 2002, when several drivers called emergency services to report a car losing control and veering off the road into the trees. Responders found no evidence of a recent crash, no skid marks, debris, or vehicle. But just when they were about to leave, a deeper search into the undergrowth revealed a wrecked car, hidden for months, containing the decomposed body of a man who had died long before the call. Since that day, drivers continue to see the spectral crash, with some even claiming to witness a ghostly figure trapped inside, pounding on the windows for help. And if that's not eerie enough, many drivers have also reported picking up a hitchhiker, a man in his 20s, dressed in clothing from the 1970s. He often appears to be lost or disoriented. Some have offered him a ride, only to have him disappear from the back seat halfway through their journey. Those who've had this experience describe a sudden coldness and an overwhelming feeling of sorrow, as if they were sharing the car with something far from human. Now let's talk about one of the most common tales associated with haunted highways, ghostly hitchhikers. One of the most famous is Resurrection Mary in Chicago. She's been seen by countless drivers along Archer Avenue near Resurrection Cemetery. A young woman in a white dress, looking confused and lost, is said to hitch a ride from passing motorists. But once they pass the gates of the cemetery, she disappears without a trace. The legend dates back to the 1930s, when a young woman identified as Mary was reportedly struck and killed by a car while walking along the road after leaving a dance hall. Since then, her spirit has been seen by countless drivers, many of whom have stopped to offer her a ride, only for her to vanish before their eyes. Cab drivers have recorded fares when the mysterious woman requests to be taken to the cemetery, but upon arrival, she was gone. In some accounts, Mary speaks only briefly, mentioning she needs to get home, but she never reveals exactly where that is. Her ghost has even been captured in blurry photographs and described in chilling detail by those who've encountered her. These stories aren't just confined to one area. They're a worldwide phenomenon. From the Lady in White in Texas to the Phantom Hitchhiker of Bluebell Hill in England. These tales all share the same eerie pattern, a stranded traveler who disappears without a trace. The similarities in these stories across different cultures and decades make you wonder, could there be some truth to these ghostly encounters? But haunted highways aren't just what you might see on the road. Sometimes it's what you find along the way. Rest stops and roadside attractions, places where weary travelers pull over for a break, have their own share of ghostly tales. Take the haunted rest stop on I-5 in California near Lost Hills. Travelers who've stopped there at night have reported seeing ghostly figures in the mirrors, hearing footsteps when no one else is around, and even feeling a cold hand on their shoulder as they rested. Truckers have reported waking up in the middle of the night to the sound of tapping on their windows, only to find no one there. Others have seen shadowy figures darting between trees, vanishing just quickly as they appeared. Some even claim to have seen a spectral figure, a woman in a blood-stained dress, appearing in the bathroom mirrors before fading into the darkness. She's said to ask for help with a soft, sorrow voice before vanishing into thin air. And then there's the abandoned gas station on Route 285 in New Mexico, just outside of Vaughn. Drivers who have stopped there for a quick break have reported strange occurrences, like their cars refusing to start, mysterious lights flickering in the distance, and a lingering feeling of being watched. Local legend says the gas station was the site of a violent robbery in the 1950s that left several people dead, and that their spirits never left. One particularly eerie account involves a driver who, after filling up, found his car completely dead. As he waited for assistance, he saw an old man with hollow eyes in the rear view mirror, standing by the pump. When he turned around, there was no one there. His car started on the first try after that, and he swears he felt a cold presence in the back seat all the way to his destination. So, if you're on a long road trip or just commuting home after a long day, remember that the road you're driving on might have more history and mystery than you think. Haunted highways are more than just spooky stories. They're reminders of the dark and unexplained that lurks just beyond the edge of our headlights. Don't forget, starting next week on September 12th, we're launching Haunted America, our new series where we'll be exploring 10 haunted locations in every single state. We're releasing a new episode every single day until October 31st. That's 50 episodes packed with stories of the most haunted and creepiest places across America. So keep your ears peeled and your podcast app ready, because this is one road trip you won't want to miss. And that's going to do it for our episode on haunted highways. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate every single download that the Halloween podcast gets. So like I mentioned, Haunted America is starting next week, and it's going to be 50 days, 50 shows, about 500 or so haunted locations. This is a lot of work, guys. I've been working on this thing for weeks, recording every single night, and it's been one really grueling task. I really hope you guys enjoy it. If you can't wait, you should go to our website, thehalloweenpodcast.com, because I've actually put a few Haunted America shows up there for you guys to download, and they only cost $1. That's right, for just $1, you can get early access to a couple of shows of Haunted America, which are up there right now for you to download. Production costs have really increased here at the Halloween Podcast. I think you guys have noticed because of all of the cool spooky sounds and all of that goodness. All that stuff costs money, and your support basically helps continue the Halloween Podcast. So even if we all chipped in just $1, that will mean that I can pay for a lot of these sound effects. So please, go to thehalloweenpodcast.com, download some Haunted America episodes, and if you can't, no worries, just leave us a 5-star review and we'll call it even. This episode is releasing on September 5th, 2024, and I want to let you guys know that this Saturday, which is going to be the 7th, September 7th, I will be at West Tennessee Comic Con. I will have a booth there. I will be giving out postcards, selling some stickers, selling some podcast merch, but I'll be there in person. So if you're in the Jackson, Tennessee area or the surrounding area and you want to make it out to West Tennessee Comic Con, come on out. I'll be there. I would love to meet you. So if you have any questions, comments, or want to suggest anything for a future show, go ahead, send me an email to halloweenpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/thehalloweenpodcast. And I post a lot of cool stuff there, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of other really cool Halloween related stuff. So go to our Facebook page and give us a like. And with that, I'm out of here. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you next week.